I was on my way to a dinner party, an invitation from a prominent designer that felt like a new beginning for my career. My husband's assistant, Sarah Vance, was driving. In a flash of screeching tires and twisted metal, a car veered into our lane, heading straight for us. I remembered my husband, Marcus Thorne, turning the wheel in that last moment. The world tumbled, a violent kaleidoscope of glass and sound before coming to a crushing halt. My leg was pinned, a searing pain shooting through it, but a deeper, duller ache in my stomach told me a far worse truth. I was miscarrying. When Marcus arrived at the wreck, his eyes scanned past me, landing on Sarah, who was nursing a few scratches on her arm. He helped her up, his face a mask of fury directed at me. "You're disgusting, Clara," he spat. "Using a trick like this to hurt Sarah." He rushed her to the hospital, leaving me behind as flames began to lick at the edges of the car. I burned. Then, my eyes opened. The same road, the same evening light. The out-of-control car was just ahead, and Sarah's hands were on the steering wheel, a chillingly familiar sight. This time, I knew. I gripped the car's handrail with all my might, bracing myself for the impact. I had to stay conscious, to stay stable if I wanted to survive. The car flipped just as before. The airbag on Sarah's side deployed perfectly, cushioning her. Mine failed. My legs were trapped again, the metal of the car biting into my skin. Sarah, however, managed to push her door open and climb out, barely harmed. She didn't call for help. Instead, she stood there for a moment, and I saw a smirk of pure triumph on her face before she turned and disappeared. I had to think fast. I strained against the wreckage, my fingers fumbling for a brightly colored scarf in my bag. I managed to pull it free and shoved it through the shattered window, waving it frantically, praying someone would see the flash of color against the darkening sky. It wasn't long before a sleek, expensive car pulled over. The memory from my previous life clicked into place. This had to be Isabella Rossi, the daughter of the city's wealthiest family and, surprisingly, my biggest fan. She wore my designs almost exclusively. In the other life, Sarah had run off, telling rescuers the car was empty, leaving me to my fate. But this time, I had a chance. "What happened here? Hurry, get them out!" Isabella's voice was sharp and commanding as she ordered her bodyguards forward. After a struggle, they managed to pry my mangled door open and carefully pull me from the vehicle. I was so weak from the pain and shock that I couldn't even form the words to thank her. Just then, Sarah reappeared from the shadows, throwing herself towards me. "Clara, I'm so glad you're okay. I was so worried." As she embraced me, her hand pressed down hard on my lower abdomen, exactly where the pain was most acute. A wave of agony sent cold sweat pouring down my back. Isabella, sensing the hostility, supported me with one arm and pushed Sarah away with the other. "Are you Clara Evans?" she asked, her eyes wide with a genuine, almost childlike adoration. "I love your work so much. I was devastated when you stopped designing after you got married. Almost everything I own, you designed." Just as I tried to answer her, the sound of another car pulling up cut through the air. It was a sound I knew all too well. It was Marcus. He practically flew out of his car, his focus entirely on Sarah, pulling her into a tight hug. "Sarah, are you hurt? Look at you, this is terrible." He fussed over the insignificant scrape on her arm while she buried her face in his chest, her shoulders shaking with fake sobs. "Marcus, you're finally here. I was so scared," she whimpered. A sharp, cramping pain seized my legs and stomach. I looked down and saw that my pants were soaked with blood. "Miss Rossi," I gasped, my voice thin. "Please, can you get me to a hospital? My legs, I can't feel them, and my stomach hurts so much. Please, you have to save my baby." Isabella's body went rigid, her eyes wide with shock at my words and the sight of the blood. "You're pregnant? Your leg is so badly injured." Marcus let out a contemptuous snort. "Pregnant? Still lying to get attention at a time like this. You know you can't have children anymore. What is this nonsense?" After I lost our first child, an accident caused by him when he was drunk, the doctors had said conceiving again would be nearly impossible. Isabella shot him a furious glare and had her bodyguard help me stand. "Come on, I'm taking you to the hospital." Beside us, Sarah clung to Marcus, crying weakly. Marcus, it's all my fault. I didn't protect Clara. I feel so guilty. I just hope she'll be okay. I saw it all again, just like before. The calculated turn of the wheel, the triumphant look in her eyes. It was no accident. Marcus soothed her, gently blowing on the scratch on her arm. Of course it's not your fault. I'm just worried about you. This is a bad scrape. It might leave a scar. A scar would be awful for a girl like you. He then turned his venomous gaze on me. You're disgusting, Clara. How could you hurt her? Sarah is already so fragile and you terrified her. Look at her arm. You did this on purpose, didn't you? You crashed this car deliberately. Compared to my crushed leg and the life draining out of me, her tiny scrape was nothing. The physical pain was immense, but the pain in my heart was worse. Why would I do that? I'm carrying your child, Marcus. How could I put our baby in danger? He froze for a second, his eyes flickering down to my stomach, a brief moment of hesitation crossing his face. But it was gone as quickly as it came, replaced by anger. A child? You can't have children, Clara. You'd make up such a pathetic lie just to hurt Sarah. His voice was like ice, every word a shard stabbing into me. I really am, I stuttered, humiliated and overwhelmed. Sarah, nestled in his arms, sobbed softly. She looked up at me, a flash of victory in her eyes before she masked it with a pitiful expression. Clara, I know you don't like me, but I would never try to hurt you. How could you say these things? My anger gave me a surge of strength. I glared at them, my body trembling. Stop pretending, Sarah. You tampered with the car. You did this on purpose. You wanted to kill me so you could have him all to yourself. Marcus was enraged. He hugged Sarah tighter and yelled at me. That's enough, Clara. You're still slandering her. Look at yourself. I must have been blind to ever marry you. The world started to spin, and the pain in my abdomen sharpened. Marcus, my bag. It's in your car. It has my prenatal medicine. Please, get it for me. I'm begging you, save our child, I pleaded, clinging to one last desperate thread of hope. Stop this act, he sneered. There's no medicine because there's no baby. Are you still trying to fool me? Do I look like an idiot? Isabella had already run to his car. The bag is right there on the back seat. Open the door, she yelled, pounding on the window. Saving a life is more important. Marcus just laughed. Her acting is so good, she even fooled you, young lady. But you should stay out of this. It's a private matter between a husband and wife. Isabella's face flushed with anger. You're unbelievable. Just give me the medicine. I'll pay you whatever you want. Money? Marcus scoffed. I don't need money. And there is no medicine. Don't let her trick you. From a distance, Sarah called out weakly, placing Marcus's hand on her chest. Marcus, my heart is beating so fast. I've always been frail. I'm not going to die from this, am I? I'm so scared. He immediately rushed back to her. Tess, don't be afraid. I'm here. I'll make sure the person who hurt you pays. He glared at me again, the disgust in his eyes deepening. Clara, I was going to let this go because you were injured, but you show no remorse. You lie to get my sympathy. It's disgusting. I know you've hated Sarah since she joined the company. I asked you to go to the banquet with her tonight because I had to be late, and you pull this stunt. If Sarah wasn't lucky, she could have been killed. You will apologize to her, or you're not getting any medical help for that leg. Listening to his twisted version of reality, I trembled with a rage so deep it felt cold. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. You keep saying I harmed her, Marcus. But do you have any proof at all? It was her. She tried to kill me and our unborn child. You're so blinded by her that you can't see the truth. Sarah just sniffled in his arms. Sister Clara, all I wanted was an apology so we could move past this. But why would you accuse me of such terrible things? And why would you suddenly be pregnant right now? Isn't that a little too convenient? Marcus seized on her words. Exactly. I've wanted another child for years, and it never happened. Now, all of a sudden, you're pregnant? Stop talking nonsense and apologize to Sarah. My first child was lost because he pushed me when he was drunk, and now he could stand there and say these things. The heartbreak was absolute. I struggled to my feet, leaning on a guardrail. Miss Rossi, please, you have to get me to a hospital. The pain is getting unbearable. Isabella nodded frantically. Okay, okay, just wait here while I get my car. Try not to move. As Isabella ran off, Marcus's expression twisted into a cruel smile. Keep pretending. Let's see how long you can keep this up when the doctors find nothing. Sarah chimed in, Marcus, maybe we should check on Clara, just in case she really is hurt. The fake concern in her voice was sickening, but the glint of malice in her eyes was unmistakable. Forget it, Marcus said. You'll have to apologize to Sarah another day. Since you're injured, I'll let it slide for now. I need to get Sarah to the hospital. With that, he scooped Sarah into his arms and started walking toward his car, ignoring my desperate cries. Isabella came running back, her face a mask of anxiety. Oh no, Clara! My car won't start. It must have broken down. What are we going to do? A wave of pure despair washed over me as the pain intensified. Marcus, I'm begging you one last time, I screamed through my tears. He just sneered from his car. What trick are you trying now? We're not staying to watch your performance. We have a banquet to get to after Sarah gets bandaged up. He started the engine. Sarah leaned over from the passenger seat. I'm so sorry, Clara. Marcus is just too worried about me. Maybe I should get out and help you. As she made a show of unbuckling her seatbelt, Marcus grabbed her arm. Look how thoughtful she is, and you're still ungrateful enough to hurt her. He stomped on the gas and sped away, leaving us in a cloud of exhaust. Isabella stomped her foot. What a monster, she cursed. Then her eyes lit up. Wait, my family has a property just up the road. I'll call our butler to send a car. Just hang on. I was writhing on the cold asphalt, the world starting to go dark. In a few minutes, that felt like an eternity, another car screeched to a halt beside us. Isabella and the driver gently lifted me inside, and we raced to the hospital. Don't be afraid, Clara, she kept saying, trying to keep me conscious. We're almost there. But my vision was already fading to black. When I finally woke up, the first thing I did was touch my stomach. It was flat, empty. The warmth that had been there was gone. My leg, which had been crushed in the accident, was fractured and encased in a heavy cast. The door to my hospital room opened, and Isabella came in carrying a tray. You're awake. I had the housekeeper make some porridge. You should eat something. She wouldn't meet my eyes, and I knew why. She was afraid I would ask about the baby. I ate the porridge without a word. I needed to get my strength back. I needed to be healthy enough to make the people who did this to me and my child pay. My thoughts drifted to the designer's banquet. It was meant to be my big comeback, the relaunch of my career. That was impossible now. Isabella seemed to read my mind. Clara, that banquet, I was the one hosting it. The whole point was to reintroduce you to the fashion world. When you couldn't make it, I canceled the whole thing. I'll host another one for you as soon as you're better. A warmth spread through my chest and tears welled in my eyes. Isabella, I don't know how to thank you. I owe you everything. She sat on the edge of my bed and took my hand, her expression full of sympathy. She knew what I had lost. While I was recovering, I learned that Marcus and Sarah had been busy spreading rumors, telling everyone that the crash was my fault, that I was careless and looking for sympathy. The rage burned inside me, but I kept it hidden, waiting for the right moment. Once my leg had healed enough for me to walk with Isabella's help, I stood in front of a mirror. I looked thin and pale, but my reflection held a new, hard determination. I would get back to the top, and I would make them pay. Soon after, a major design competition for up-and-coming talent was announced. Isabella signed me up immediately, securing the best models and the finest fabrics for my entry. I poured everything I had into my work, spending sleepless nights perfecting every single detail. On the day of the finals, I walked onto the stage wearing my creation. The design was breathtaking, and the entire room fell silent before erupting in a storm of flashing cameras. Across the room, I saw the shocked faces of Marcus and Sarah. They never imagined I could come back so quickly, so powerfully. Sarah, propped up by Marcus's influence, had also made it to the finals. I walked towards them, a slow, deliberate pace, ready to give them the surprise of their lives. Long time no see, Marcus. He looked away, a flash of guilt on his face. Sarah looked equally stunned. Clara! We had no idea you were in the competition. You used a different name. She tried to diffuse the tension, holding out a hand for me to shake. I ignored it, leaving her hand hanging awkwardly in the air. The reporters started buzzing, cameras clicking furiously. Isn't that Clara Evans? She's married to Marcus Thorne from the Thorne Group, right? What's going on? That woman with him must be that new designer he's been promoting, Sarah Vance. Is she his mistress? Look at the tension here. This is going to be good. The whispers grew louder. Marcus finally stepped forward, shielding Sarah behind him. Enough, he said, his voice low and threatening. If you have something to say it to me. I gave him a slow, deliberate clap. Well said. Since you offered, I'll take you up on it. I signaled to the technicians, and the large screen behind the stage lit up, displaying a copy of our marriage certificate, followed immediately by the dashcam footage from the day of the crash. Marcus's cruel, heartless words filled the auditorium. The crowd gasped. It's true, I can't believe he's so cold. He wouldn't even save his own wife. Look at that Sarah woman next to him. She's got that conniving look. A perfect pair. He wouldn't even save his own child? That man is a monster. Sarah's face went white. She reached for Marcus's arm, but he pulled away from her touch. It's not like that, she pleaded to the crowd. You're only hearing her side of the story. But her voice was lost in the noise. Marcus, his face purple with rage, tried to rush the stage to get the evidence, but Isabella's bodyguards blocked his path. Clara, what do you want? He roared. You were never pregnant. Why are you trying to stir up trouble? I just smiled coldly and signaled again. A new image appeared on the screen, a hospital pregnancy test, positive, and an official miscarriage certificate. The room fell completely silent. Marcus stared at the screen, frozen in disbelief. This can't be real. How could you have been pregnant? This has to be forged. Clara, I never knew you were so vicious you'd ruin my reputation with lies. Seeing the proof of my child's existence, a wave of grief washed over me, but I held it back. Even now, Marcus, you still don't believe me? The reporters' cameras were fixed on us, capturing every second of the drama. You just want revenge, don't you, Clara? Marcus yelled, snatching a printed copy of the report from a nearby table and crumpling it in his fist. Besides, I was out of town that day. How could I have been at the scene of an accident with you? It's ridiculous. He was now denying the dashcam footage, claiming I had faked everything. The journalists, who had been on my side moments before, now looked confused, murmuring amongst themselves. Just as the standoff reached its peak, a clear voice cut through the confusion from the back of the room. Everything Clara Evans has said is true. Isabella walked calmly towards the stage, holding a tablet. This is the footage from my car's dashcam on the day of the incident. It clearly shows Marcus Thorne and his assistant's actions. She also held up a folder. And this is the official hospitalization certificate proving Clara's miscarriage. The video played on the screen, her angle capturing the whole scene perfectly. Marcus and Sarah, me on the ground covered in blood. She then slammed the hospital records down in front of Marcus. He picked one up, his eyes scanning the words. Miscarriage due to external force trauma. It was undeniable proof that the crash and his refusal to get me help had killed our child. Clara, you were really pregnant, he whispered, his face crumbling. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. It's my fault, I killed my own child. He covered his face and sank to his knees, sobbing. But all I could remember was his cold sneer that day, and I didn't know which version of him was real. Isabella, disgusted, walked over and kicked him hard. You monster! Your pain is nothing compared to what Clara went through. She begged you for help, and you turned your back on her. She went to kick him again, but Sarah rushed forward to stop her. Miss Rossi, what are you doing? You can't just assault someone in public. Isabella shook her off. Don't you dare talk to me about what's right and wrong. Where was your sense of decency when you conspired to hurt Clara? I watched the chaos, a storm of grief and hatred swirling inside me. But seeing Marcus broken on the floor, I felt a strange pang of pity. I took a deep breath and stepped forward, pulling Isabella back. Don't dirty your hands on someone like him, Isabella. It's not worth it. Marcus looked up, his eyes red and raw. Clara, what can I do? I know I can't be forgiven, but let me make it up to you. I'll do anything. I looked at him, my heart cold as stone. Make it up to me? Can you bring my child back? The tears I had held back for so long finally fell. Sarah was still trying to play the victim. Sister Clara, it's my fault. I was injured, and Marcus was just worried about me. That's why he rushed me to the hospital. Please, don't blame him. I wiped my tears away. They were the last I would ever shed for that part of my life. My eyes, now icy and clear, fixed on Sarah, who couldn't meet my gaze. Sarah, you've worked for Marcus for years doing his dirty work. You don't get to walk away from this. Her face turned pale. I was just following his orders. Is that so? I said, my voice dangerously quiet. And copying my work for this competition? Was that his order too? Her head snapped up. I don't know what you're talking about. The design for that dress you submitted, I said clearly. It's a direct copy of my master's thesis from my graduation project in May of 2015. Do I need to be more specific? I didn't copy you, she insisted. That was my own original design. You can't just bully me because you're more established. She must have known my paper was never published in any major journal, so she thought I had no proof. What she didn't know was that it had been selected as an outstanding thesis by my university in the UK, and it was still proudly displayed on their official website. I'll ask you one more time, I said. Is this your design? Yes, she answered, her voice defiant. Isabella let out a short, mocking laugh. I've seen your other work. You barely have the skills of a design student. How could you create something like this? Besides, I saw this exact piece at a graduation exhibition when I was visiting that university. This is clearly Clara's work. Sarah tried to appeal to the crowd. Miss Rossi, Miss Evans, don't bully me just because you're powerful. I'm just starting my career. With one sentence, she tried to paint herself as the victim. I pulled up my university's website on my phone and showed the screen to the nearest reporter. The thesis was there, identical to Sarah's design. Then, Isabella produced her phone. I loved that design so much I took dozens of photos of it back then. The timestamp on the photos read 2015. Sarah's face went completely slack, her lips trembling. Whispers rippled through the audience, their eyes now full of disdain for her. I stepped closer. What do you have to say for yourself now, Sarah? You stole my design. In our industry, there is nothing lower than a plagiarist. She backed away, stumbling. I was just inspired by it. I didn't think anyone would find out. Isabella snorted. Inspired? This is a carbon copy. You didn't change a single stitch. Seeing all the cameras pointed at her, Sarah completely panicked and pointed a shaking finger at Marcus, who was still on the floor. It was his idea. He said no one would ever know. He's the one who found the designs for me. The crowd's attention snapped to Marcus. He looked up, dazed from his grief, and now panicked by her accusation. I just wanted to help her, he stammered. I didn't think it through. It was a weak defense, and the accusations from the crowd grew louder. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. Marcus, to promote her, you were willing to destroy my work, my career. What did all our years together mean to you? Tess, seeing the tide had turned completely against them, tried to slip away, but Isabella grabbed her arm. You're not going anywhere. You will both answer for this. Just then, executives from the competition's sponsoring company arrived, their faces grim. They immediately announced that Sarah was disqualified, her contract terminated, and Marcus was removed from all collaborative projects. They promised me a fair resolution. But that's not enough, I said, my voice ringing out in the quiet hall. We can deal with the plagiarism later, but what about you trying to have me killed, Sarah? How do you explain that? A new wave of shock went through the crowd. Sarah's face was ashen. What? I borrowed your design, yes, but attempting your life? You can't just accuse me of that, I sneered. Innocent. Marcus, listen to this. Let's see what your wonderful assistant is really capable of. You all remember the driver of the other car in the crash? The one who was knocked unconscious? After he woke up in the hospital, where Miss Rossi and I made sure he was taken, he told me everything. He said Sarah here bribed him to crash into our car. But she didn't just want an accident. She told him to accelerate after the initial impact, to drive straight into the driver's side where I was sitting. She was trying to kill us both to silence him. Sarah began to tremble uncontrollably. Marcus staggered backward, his eyes wide with horror, as if seeing her for the first time. You really did that? I continued, my voice steady. And the evidence isn't just his testimony, Sarah. You deleted some of the security footage, but you didn't get all of it. The police have what's left, and it clearly shows your face. It also shows the record of the money transfer. There's no escaping it. At the mention of the police, Sarah collapsed completely, clinging to Marcus's leg. Marcus, I did it all for you, so we could be together. You promised you'd marry me if Clara was out of the way. Please save me. I don't want to go to jail. He kicked her hand away, his voice devoid of any emotion. You didn't do this for me. You did this for yourself. And now, no one can save you. As if on cue, the sound of police sirens grew louder outside. Officers entered, handcuffed a hysterical Sarah, and led her away. After she was gone, Marcus knelt in front of me again. Clara, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't leave me. I'll do anything. I walked past him without a second glance. I've already drawn up the divorce papers. From now on, you can talk to my lawyer. With Isabella by my side, I walked out of that hall and never looked back. I later learned that despite all the chaos, my design won the competition. Isabella was ecstatic. I knew you would win, Clara. True talent always shines through. She handed me an invitation. Our company is offering a scholarship to study abroad. Italy. I think you should go. Get away from all this. Your designs deserve a world stage. The invitation was from a design institute in Milan I had dreamed of attending. I accepted. A while later, living in Italy, I got a call from Isabella. Good news, Clara. Sarah was sentenced to more than 20 years in prison. And your ex-husband, Marcus, his life is a wreck. The scandal destroyed the Thorn Group. The company went bankrupt last week and he's buried in debt. I saw him on the street the other day. He looked like a ghost. Hearing the news, I felt nothing. Life was just unpredictable. Sometime after that, Isabella forwarded me a news article. The Thorn Group's bankruptcy was finalized. Unable to face his debts and his disgrace, Marcus Thorn had jumped from a bridge into the river. I closed my phone. Everything was finally settled. The road ahead was mine, and it was clear.